Hello, everyone. So, first of all, Happy New Year because it's the 31st of 2025, and I would like to make a special stream or a special upload. It's basically about your soul plan. You're born on this earth with a specific soul plan. And what's interesting is I can read soul plans, and I'm going to give you an example. First of all, I'm going to show you how to read it, your own soul plan, and I'm going to show you how I read someone else's soul plan. So, reading someone else's soul plan for me is high energy work. I have to connect with the person on a deep level, and I listen to them very carefully, and it's kind of like an interview where I connect to a higher source to ask them the right questions, and they answer back to me, and it's kind of like a ping pong thing. And then I can sense what their soul mission is. And I did about 30-40 soul plan readings. It takes about half an hour to an hour. And I'm going to give you an example of one soul plan so you understand. Because why is it good to know your soul plan? Because you will find deep happiness following your soul plan. And there is often a dissonance between what you're doing, what you've been conditioned to do, and the deeper inner longing, you could say. And this deeper inner longing comes from many angles. It comes also from your ancestors, from the past, and so forth. Your astrology, also your cosmology, your soul, everything. And so I was renting an apartment for 2 weeks in Osgore, in France, with a woman from Berlin, and with doing so much van life, I sometimes get out of the routine by maybe booking 1 or 2 weeks like a Airbnb. I also like taking a hot bath sometimes, which I can't in the van. And I noticed one evening the way she was eating, and she was eating like ketchup, like the sugar kind of ketchup. She was drinking an energy drink. There was a lot of sugar and a lot of processed food. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was horrifying, because for me it was horrifying because I eat completely differently. I buy only the best ingredients. That's also why I like France a lot, because you can get the best ingredients. So I was watching this, and normally I let people be people, but this time I felt like saying something. It was like a deep inner calling to ask her something. And I said, "Are you aware of what you're eating?" And she got super aggressive. And I apologized and said I didn't want to encroach on your space. It's just that I noticed it's very, very strange. And she started crying. And being an energy healer and having that safe space, I sat down with her, and it's like, if you want to talk about it, we can. So I told her I do soul plan readings, and if she wants, we can do that. So we sat down on the couch, and I started listening to her. And as it went on, it became more and more obvious that and there was a nice synchronicity, which I have to say is the owner of the Airbnb. She was like 9 months pregnant, and she was just about to get the baby, but she wasn't calming down. She was like doing all the work, everything. And I was saying like, "No, let me do this. Let me do this." Other men were like, "No, let me do this." And she was like, "No, I'm going to do it." It's a crazy, crazy nice woman. And and I told her like where I come from with, spirituality and everything. And she said, "I have a book in the garage from Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now." Of course, I read Power of Now several times, and it's like, you could say one of my Bibles, if you want to say it like that. And she said, "No, I'm going to give it to you anyway." So I took it, and it was a perfect synchronicity, because I did the soul plan reading with the girl from Berlin. and she started crying because she found out that she chose only to become a lawyer because her father was a lawyer, so she assumed that's kind of the natural thing to do. I didn't feel like there was like hyper pressure from her dad. It was just like she felt like to go into that, and she stuck with it for 20 years because she was already 45 or something. So, so basically, she did something for 20 years which was not part of her inner core, you could say, what she really wanted to do, and she was crying like crazy. And so I gave her the book at the end of the reading, and she read it in one go. She was like, she was like completely fixated on the book. So it was a very nice synchronicity. And one of my soul plans, by the way, is to support other people's soul plans, not only my own development of my own, and I'm learning a lot as I travel through life, but also supporting other people's soul plans. Especially what I noticed is that for many people, I'm kind of like where they were going like this, then they get to know me and they go like this. So it's a completely shift often, especially after doing a session with me or something like that. And there's a lot of things that I'm learning right now, which I'm not going to go into a little bit later in some future videos, what I'm learning right now. But I wanted to show you how someone chooses a certain path, which might be very contrary to their inner core. And it accumulates over years. And the problem is, if you don't solve it, if you proverbially don't take out the garbage, then it can accumulate so much that you get a disease. Whatever the emotion is. So I gave her that Soulplan reading. She read the book. I don't remember exactly what happened after. I don't think we kept contact. We did exchange contacts, but I don't remember. And for myself, one of the big soul plans that I see for myself is I go from like door to door to door, and I go into that room of that open door. I learn everything that's in the door. Then I close the door and I go to the next door. Well, the door actually closes by itself. And I'm being pushed like from one learning into the other. It's really interesting to observe. It's very clear to me. So how do you read your own soul plan? It's actually very, very simple, and you can do that also with other people. You just have to notice when they lighten up in their mood, when they speak about it, when they open their eyes, the pitch of the tone of the voice goes a little bit higher, and they just from the baseline they're usually at, when they speak about where their soul plan actually is, it just jumps up in frequency. It's like lighter, it's more energetic, it's more happy, it's more. So for example, I love grand pianos. I love playing piano. And just like the idea, look at me, like I'm smiling, eyes become bigger. It's like just visualizing myself playing on a grand piano. It's like it's one of those things. And making music is definitely one of those things in my life. And so when you observe yourself or you observe others, just watch for that. Watch for the bigger eyes, the higher voice, the faster, the more energetic, the more happy, kind of like, oh my god, kind of like this. And that's where you need to move. Like when you move in that direction, it definitely is one of the directions you can move in. The other way is, but that's a much more tougher way, it's more like the Vipassana type of thing where you relax so much into your beingness, which if you watch that super important video that I made about spiritual awakening, so then you will understand. resting in beingness. And as you rest in beingness, your energy field opens up. It becomes larger, and you kind of receive the energy from above into the heart chakra. That's how I started back then, the massages. And that also gives you a clear direction, like the heart intuition. And you will feel it when it's there. So, and the longer you stay in it, I always say you need to stay in it at a minimum of 15 minutes before the energy opens up. And because I'm an HSP, highly sensitive person, I can feel them literally opening up. So that's how you have two ways to access your soul plan and which way you should go, especially if you're unsure about what to do in life. I think that's a good title for the video. So I hope that helped you. I hope that raised a little bit of your frequency, at least one person. And that's the mission of this channel and of the Awakening Camp when it launches, is raise one person's frequency per day. And if you want to come onto a podcast with me, let me know. I'm now near Gibraltar, and I'm going to do a little bit of breathing now, pranayama and yoga and stuff. And I noticed for myself the last days that I definitely need to spend more time during the day on my energetic work. Because we can be so easily swayed into activities and thereby forgetting our energetic field. And it's literally how we experience the world. So if there's anything that makes you feel somewhat unhappy in life, you always have to come back to your energetic field, raising that frequency, and then things start to change, and different synchronicities pop up, different opportunities, and so forth. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that, and see you soon.